Hi, I'm Nazara. In this video, we're gonna do tutorial on a design a user interface by using Figma. In this case, we're gonna do a design, a login to the Google Classroom, and then we're gonna do a prototyping of a design that we have made later on. So without further ado, let's go.
Okay, now we are on the blend of design new file on Figma. So the first thing we do, we're gonna go heading to the prototype tab beside the design in here. We click, and then we choose the device that we want to use for our design. So I'm gonna try using iPhone 11, and then it will display the preview on this phone. And then the next thing we do, we're gonna create a frame. To create a frame, we're gonna heading to the move icon here. This is our region tools. We're gonna click and we're gonna click frame. In the prototype tab, it will change. These are the mobile UI and tablet, desktop until Figma community. We're gonna heading to mobile. The prototype that we're using is iPhone 11, so we can choose iPhone 11 here, Pro, and then it will pop up the frame here. Next, we're gonna start to rename our frame. So when we entering the Google Classroom, before we entering to the main page, we have to log in or register. Pretend that we already have an account or already registered, so we're gonna go to the login page instead. So we're gonna rename here beside the layer here. Just gonna right click and rename. We're gonna rename it to login. Okay, now after we're done rename login, the second step, we're gonna heading to the Figma community. We can just heading to Figma community. This are the templates, several for the UI thing. We're gonna search for mobile because we're using an iPhone. We have in here mobile UI kit, and then here we're gonna duplicate. Okay, now we are on the mobile UI kit. We're gonna head into mobile UI kit pages. We just can need some several UI here. So for the indicator icon application, for including time, battery, Wi-Fi and signal, just gonna click here and then Control V, or you can copy instead using Control C. Then we're gonna go to login pages here in our design and Control V, and we have the iOS status bar. And then in the mobile UI kit, we're gonna need some of the home indicator here. We're gonna get home indicator, unlock it, and then we're gonna Control C or copy. Then we're gonna go back to heading our design, then Control V, and we have our home indicator. So we're gonna put it down here. Okay, now we have our base mobile UI here. We can actually duplicate it, our pages here. So this is art for the indicator here. We can regroup here. Just gonna click Control with all these both, and then we're gonna group selection to make a group. So I'm just gonna call this as bar, icon bar. Okay, then I'm just gonna duplicate into several pages. All you need to do is just duplicate using Control D in the keyboard, and it will create a duplicate of the frame. It's gonna heading this layer in down, so it's gonna be the next section of the frame. So in this frame, I'm gonna rename as for the password. So in the Google itself, they have the typing the email and then typing the password. So just gonna change login for email, and then here for the password. And we're gonna add another frame just Control D. We will duplicate it and go down the layer here, and we're gonna rename for homepage after we log in to our email. Now we have 3 pages here, so we're gonna handle for the login email first. Okay, the first step, we're gonna add some of the email field here. So I have several resource from base for mobile UI kit here, containing name, keyboard, and etc. for the iOS itself. So we're gonna use the input text in here for the entering our email. Just gonna use Control C to copy, and then we heading into the login frame. Just click the login frame and then Control V. Okay, so this is our field for email. I'm just gonna put right anywhere here first, and then after that we're gonna need for a next button here after you enter up your email. So in the name for email field, I'm just gonna click and then heading to this name and double click and for rename it. Just gonna rename it for email or phone. So after that, you're gonna change this name for the enter. Just double click it into next. I'm gonna drag it in the middle for next button. And then after that, I'm going to rescale the size of margin between those border. So quick tip, you can click first for the shape in here and then hold Alt, and then after that you're heading your cursor out of the shape and it will see the margin itself that you are currently positioning between in the center or not. So to move it, you can use drag away with your cursor, but it's better suggest to move with your arrow key in your keyboard. So if you go to the right, it will change the direction here. So if you go to the left and go to the left, so I'm just gonna make it to the center of 16 by 16 in each border of the margin, and then it will stay in the middle itself. And then move along to the next button here. Just gonna hold Alt and then outside your cursor, and then it will detect this distance of this margin. Since you're not gonna get too close, it's just 25 inch away. Good. Alright, now we already have the shape for the input text here. Now we're gonna head into the font. To change the font, so first we're going to design tab here, and then we're gonna add some new text in here. Basically, just gonna type here, I'm gonna put in this frame, and then we create some text. So because we're going to use Google for Google Classroom, we can search for their fonts. Simply just go to Google Fonts. You can find it, but Google already provided some Google fonts here, so it's inside the pages. And then they are using the Roboto for the crucial buttons, so we're just gonna type in tasks here or just Google, and I think change the text for enter into a Roboto. There you go. Now it will change this text into Google font itself. Now for example, you can just gonna name it into a sign in. Actually same as login, but I'm just gonna go to sign in, and then I'm gonna resize this text. So just gonna heading to the design tab and then choose for the size here. Next, we're gonna add some another text for down for the side. After that, we have the word text. We're gonna add some Google logo here up in the corner of the sign-in field. You can use it by just search for Google itself. Maybe go to the picture here, find some text, and you're just gonna go to copy image, then paste it here in the login frame. So to make the size of the Google here size based on the resize itself, you're gonna use shift, so it's not gonna make the size make it different. If it's not, it will turn into like this when you resize it. So we don't want to do that the way, so we're just gonna use hold shift and then drag it to make it small. We will resize base size. I'm just gonna put up maybe in the middle of it. There you go. And for that, I'm just gonna add another text for the rest of them, like forget email or create account. Now to change the text here, we can change into the color here in the field down here. So we're gonna change the color. You can click on it and then you can pick your color you want, but I'm gonna use the eyedropper here for the color. I'm just gonna match between this Google here, this color hue, match it and it will change the color. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna try to make a new shape for the next button here. Just gonna use add more shape here for rectangle. And add here for our next button tool. So because the edges now is sharp, I'm just gonna make it round. I'm just gonna use radius in here. You can go to the design tab, corner radius, or you can just drag using the cursor, the dot here. You can the resize of the radius itself. I'm just gonna use type here. Now our UI for sign in has been complete. Now the next one is our design step is to make a password. So it's gonna use the same exactly as this UI. So you can just drag here and then until the UI is here, and then control V and go heading to the password frame, and then control V. It will stay exact same. Now next we are going to heading into UI faces here. So this are the link for UI faces. There are several faces that usually currently use. You can use any face in here, a lot of faces. To do that, you just can double right click and then copy image, and then just head it back to our design here, just control V, and then we have our UI faces here. I'm just gonna make it circle. I'm just gonna drag here until reach to the center. It would turn into a circle. Okay, after we make a password frame, the next one we're gonna make for a homepage frame. So here we're gonna contain main menu, the list of the class, and the create join class button. So the first thing to do in the homepage, we're gonna make a header for in here. So we're just gonna add some of the outline here. It can be for line, and I'm just gonna drag it up here. Just gonna make a distance between those corner and the corner, so we're gonna make a hotline headline. Now after we have made the heading, it's time we make for the class itself. Okay, now I already made the home page of the Google Classroom itself. It contains some three bars here. It will later be navigate into the menu, and then we have some the three bar here will reflect to the refresh or send feedback, and this is the rest of them is just a classroom itself that containing a lot of classroom. Now we already done made some of the design with simple three pages in here containing the login, password, and the home page. The next thing we do is to make a more further design for the login itself. In the email here, we're gonna add another type. So for example, we're gonna add some interaction in this email field into the typing mode. To do that, we're gonna add some duplicate for this frame. So I'm just gonna duplicate this frame. Okay, we'll duplicate it and put it down here just for the next step. And then I want to add a duplicate for password too. So I'm just gonna duplicate the password frame. It's gonna be here beside here. Okay, now we already have made another frame for the interaction itself. So the first we're gonna edit this field into typing mode. Now we already create this 5 frame, and now we're gonna heading start into making a prototype. Now to make a prototype, we're gonna switch our design tab into a prototype tab. Now in here, we're gonna start from a frame from the email until we arrive at the home page. Now the first thing to do, we're gonna add some of the email here button, and then after we click this thing, it will get some interaction of this prototype. Now we're gonna add interaction. You're just gonna click the plus one, and then it will go to the tab, and then on the tab you will receive this between on tab while hovering or keypad press. And for now, because we example using a mobile, we're gonna use on tap, because usually on tap on hand, and then we go to from none into navigate to. Where do we gonna navigate? So in here from none, this will arrive us to some several frame that we have made. So because this one is for email, you're gonna heading up to the email typing. Now there will be an arrow button key in here for arriving from login to the login email typing. Next, what we are going to do after we heading here, we are going to add some like maybe kind of animation if you wanted to, or just instantly appear. We can do instantly appear. After that, we're gonna next to heading to the login email. Now in here, you already have typing the email using the keyboard, and now after that you might want to go to the next button here, the user experience. We go to the next here, click the next button, and then go to interaction, add, on tab, and then heading navigate to. We heading navigate to. After we log in, we go back to the password, not the password typing, we're still on the password interfaces. So we go to heading to the password interfaces. It can be instant or just right away. So I'm just gonna use some animation here, maybe dissolve, or maybe move out, slide. Maybe slide is better. slide in. So slide here, it's gonna add the tick here, for example 500. Then you're gonna do this in and out. Okay, maybe ease out back is better. So I'm just gonna go to 600, maybe to 800. Okay, that will be good for animating. I already have the animating. Now we're heading, the arrow tells us to continue in the password frame. Now the next one is we want to actually type in our password. So the first thing to do, we guys gonna click here, the password field, and then we're gonna add another interaction on tab, and then we navigate to the next of the password typing frame. After that, maybe just instantly, and then after that we arrive into the password typing, and in password typing we go next to the next field here, next field in password typing, interaction on tab, navigate to, and then in here we arrive at the home page. So after here we arrive at the home page, we're gonna use same like maybe slide in. It's gonna and there you go. It's gonna ease. And it's gonna use maybe 1000 tick. There you go. It's better. Now, there you go. You already made the prototype of this tutorial symbol here. And to demonstrate this prototype is you're gonna try to using a prototype frame here. So you already made here the prototype. The next thing you will do is to heading to the prototype here, and then we're gonna go to the play button. It will redirect us to the next section here. Now you should simply do, we arrive at the sign in home, in the sign in page. Now usually the demonstrate you when you can see you already made some prototype, you cannot press anything, it will only functional the thing that you already been added. Now in here we gonna add for sign in, so it said you have to type your email or phone, and just gonna go type email, and it will direct us to the next page frame, and you will fill out the password, the email or the phone number, and the next one we go to the password. So we go to the password, it says hi Nazara, and then it will list my email or fake pictures, and we type on the password. After we type on the password, and then we go heading to the next, and there you have it. Now it have made it to the home page interaction, but this is all the overall display of the prototyping itself. If you want me to repeat, let's go repeat again. So we go click to the email, and then we go heading to the next, and then it said type a password, typing a password, and then click next, and there you have it. This is the prototyping and a design mockup of Design Google Classroom.
Okay, I think that's all for the video. I am Nazara Gusta. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.